David and Goliat. One, the Valerian stage, setting the scene. A hush settled over the valley of Elah just before dawn, the mist curling low over the alder trees and rocky outcrops. Rolling hills streaked in sleepy purples and golds cradled two great armies, the Israelites on their side, shields aligned in tight ranks, the Philistines opposite them, armored dark and reflective under the awakening sun. In the center, two tents lay close to the ridge edges, King Saul's and the Philistine commanders, like beacons of divine hope and wall-like assertion. Goliath of Gath awaited them. He was no mere bully. He was a colossus, bronze headpiece shaped like a lion's crest. Greaves of bronze clad his legs, fortress-scale coat of mail weighing more than any common man, a spear in his hand so large its iron tip rivaled a ship's anchor. Each morning for 40 days he thundered across the valley, "Choose a man to come down to me. If he can fight and kill me, we will become your subjects, but if I overcome him and kill him, you will become ours." His words rolled across the landscape, defiantly challenging, mocking. But Israel, fearful and paralyzed, remained silent. No champion stepped forth. 2. David's arrival, an unlikely hero. Not part of the army, David came from Bethlehem's fields, sent by Jesse to bring food to his brothers serving under King Saul. He traversed the camps, weaving through tents and ranks until he heard the giant mocking. He paused. Each word hit harder than a thrown javelin. The Israelite soldiers, battle-hardened but shaken, rage, shame, fear, confusion in their eyes. David's blood burned. Why is this happening? Who is this uncircumcised Philistine to defy the armies of the living God? Each repetition rang louder. Soon even the soldiers noticed the young shepherd's outrage and strength. He found Saul's tent, announced himself, "Let no man's heart fail because of him. I will go and fight this Philistine." Saul looked at the boy with incredulous eyes. Wiry build, soft hands, aged roughly around 16. But behind those eyes burned conviction. 3. Armor of faith versus armor of bronze. Saul, humid and hopeful, offered his armor helmet, chestplate, sword. David tried it on. "I can walk in these. I'm not used to them." They clanked and rattled, slowing him down. He shed them, returned to gear with gratitude and humility. Instead, he chose his shepherd's tools. Staff, 5 smooth stones from the brook, and his sling, simple but wielded thousands of times under his care. He approached the valley's edge once more, alone. The morning crowd parted. Soldiers watched from atop ridges. The Philistine army was silent as their champion stepped forward into the light, a mountain striding across the earth. Goliath's laugh rolled like thunder as he sized up this boy. 4. Verbal duel, taunts, accusations, faith. "Goliath, am I a dog that you come at me with sticks? Come here, and I'll give your flesh to the birds and beasts." The Philistines bellowed in support, leaning forward, hungry for the fight. David, steady and unflinching, answered, "You come against me with sword, spear, and javelin. But I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defied." He spoke not with bravado, but with divine certainty. "Today the Lord will deliver you into my hands, and all this assembly will know that the Lord does not save with sword and spear. The battle is the Lord's." Silence fell. Even the wind stilled. Nature itself seemed to lean forward, waiting. 5. The moment before, breath of destiny. David retrieved a stone and placed it in his sling, feeling the familiar grooves of the smooth pebble. He whirled the sling once, a soft hiss through the air. Twice. Emotion built, each rotation an echo of every past fight with lions and bears. 3 times wind whistled, bugles murmured from sidelines, and hearts raced in both armies. Then release. The stones sailed like a comet through the dawn, a silent transporter. 6. The strike, giant falls. Time slowed. Thud. The stone struck the giant's forehead with divine accuracy. Bronze clanged. Goliat's knees shook. His spear dropped. His eyes widened in shock, then closed. The humongous body fell face first to the ground with an earth-shaking crash. Dust billowed. The valley seemed to exhale. A pin dropped somewhere. 7. The aftermath, pursuit, and liberation. Then came the surge, an eruption of shouts from the Israelites as they charged. Chariots screamed. Spears were hurled. Fear turned into unstoppable momentum. The Philistines fled. Some dropped their armor, blankets, weapons, in desperation. They ran until their dust mounds vanished over ridges. Og remained, Israel's warriors exulting. David, sword in hand, stood over fallen Goliath, breathing heavily. He looked skyward, overwhelmed and amazed. 8. Reflections on faith and triumph. In that 15 minutes of drama, we witness more than a warrior's defeat or the fall of a giant. We see courage born from faith, not size or strength. Divine power working through unlikely vessels, even a shepherd's sling. The transformation of fear into action. God's sovereignty, the Lord saves not with sword and spear, but through faith and divine purpose. 9. Closing echo, a word for today. Imagine the giant in your life, overwhelming, insurmountable. What stands between you and your victory? Physical limitation? Emotional struggle? Spiritual battle? Remember, like David, your springboard is simple. 5 stones of remembrance, a sling of past triumphs, and the name of the one who fights with you. When you face giants, finance pressures, health fears, relational strife, don't strap on someone else's armor. Use your own tools, prayer, scripture, memories of past victories, and trust in God's character. 10. Final charge, engage the valley. As you step up the ridge today, keep your eyes on the giant, but keep your heart anchored on the Lord. Speak truth over your valley. The victory belongs to the Lord, and his strength is my shield. Swing the sling, act in obedience, remembering every stone of past faithfulness. Because with God, you aren't small. You're his champion.